Hey class, I'm not here today, so your assignment is to CAD all of the Tetris pieces. All right, so if you have never played Tetris before, you can look it up real quick here, Tetris pieces, and you can go to an image search and you can see these pieces. So here's the basic Tetris pieces right here. You can see what makes Tetris pieces is that they are made of four blocks. So you can see the long piece is 4 blocks in a row. The L piece is 3 blocks and one more. There's the Z piece. There's this T piece, and then there's the cube. There's actually 2 Z pieces in Tetris. You don't have to model both of them because in 3D space, you can just look at it from the other side. I'll show you that in a second. But you have to model all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these pieces. That is the task. All right, let's go in. Oh, there's also 2 L pieces technically. You can see them all right here. But you don't only need to model one of them because you can just look at it from the other side. All right, so let's go back in here. I'll model one of them and then kind of give you a little bit of freedom to figure out the rest of them. So you're going to create a new document. I'm going to call this Tetris pieces. And I'm going to work within Part Studio 1 here at the bottom. You can see I'm in Part Studio 1. I'm going to start by making a sketch. Sketch, and I'm going to sketch in the front plane. I'm going to click the front of my view cube so I can view it flat. Let's make the L piece. Okay? So I'm going to grab my line tool. Always start from the origin. Lock something in place on the origin. So I'm going to hover over the origin here. I'm going to make my L shape. Okay? Now that was pretty poorly done. You can tell it doesn't look very much like an L piece. But I can do a lot of things to make sure it is. So first of all, if any of your lines aren't vertical or horizontal, grab your vertical tool and make sure your lines are vertical, or your horizontal tool, make sure they're horizontal. So fix that. But now really just go grab some dimension. So this L piece is 1 cube high. So I'm going to make its height 1. Okay? This part of the L piece right here is 3 cubes high. I can go back, I can check. You can see it's 3 cubes high. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to make this side here 3. And what you'll start to see is that it'll start to look more and more like your Tetris piece. Now, you can see these lines are still blue. That means I've not fully dimensioned this. Let me uncheck my dimension tool so I don't have any tools selected. You can also press escape. And if any of these things are blue, if I click them, I can see what I'm missing. I'm missing a dimension that holds that in place. So let me grab my dimension here, and I'll say this top piece should be also 1, because it's 1 cube wide. This is still blue. I'm probably missing this dimension right here, or the bottom one. I could do either one. Let's do the bottom one. It is 2 cubes wide. And you can see the whole thing now went black. I'm fully dimensioned. All right, so let's finish this. Let's click the green check mark. I'm going to view it from an angle here. Looks good. I'm going to click it, and I'm going to extrude it by 1 inch. There's my L-shaped Tetris piece. All right. Let me really quickly repeat this. And you can see that I get my other L by looking at the other side. All right, cool. I'm going to repeat this for, let's do the Z piece. So I'm going to create a new Part Studio. I'm going to click plus, create Part Studio. And it creates Part Studio 2. Actually, let's rename Part Studio 1. Let me right click on Part Studio 1, select rename, and I'll call this L piece. All right, cool. Part Studio 2, let's make a Z piece. Sketch in the front plane, view it perpendicular, grab my line tool. I'm going to make this Z shape. And go back to the reference picture if you need to. Let's dimension it here. 2 cubes wide in this part. 1 cube tall here. 1 cube wide here. 1 cube tall here. 2 cubes wide here. And 1 cube tall here. All right, cool. I've got everything locked in place. That last thing I did, this one, let me undo that real quick. I could have also said that I want this line to be horizontal with that line and not have this dimension, because I have already said the height of this right here is 1. So if I say horizontal, I could have also selected that. So that would work there. Okay, let's select this and let's extrude it 1 inch. All right, so this is your challenge to do all of the Tetris pieces. Let me rename this as Z piece. Now, if you finish all the Tetris pieces and you have more time, what I would like you to do is start building a Tetris field. So if I go into assembly 1, what I can do is I can insert a piece. Let me insert my L piece. All right, cool, I've got it. Now let's say that I'm playing Tetris and the next piece I get is a Z piece. Let me insert a Z piece. I want this to snap right there. This is something we haven't yet done in my class. This is within assembly, this is called fastening or fasten mates. So I'm going to hover over this tool here, it says fasten mate. I'm going to click it and it wants me to select 2 mate connectors that I want to touch. So I've got this. See how like when I hover over a surface I get this little like disc everywhere? These are the mate connectors. So I'm going to select this mate connector here in the middle, and I'm going to select this mate connector here in the middle, and you'll see what it does is it snaps them together. So I'm starting to build my Tetris. If you've ever played Tetris, you know what I mean here. All right, so kind of consider starting to try to build your Tetris map. All right, now I will warn you, sometimes you will go to assemble things and they won't quite work. So make sure you're selecting the appropriate fasten mate. So for example, if I select the center of this side and the center of this side, they aren't going to snap together correctly. Okay, they're not going to snap together. So I need to make sure I pick mates that are where I want them to be. So for example, I might instead pick this bottom edge. Whoops, let me undo that. I messed up. I might pick this bottom edge and this other bottom centered edge. Those snap together correctly. All right. So this is your task. You want to build all the Tetris pieces. Okay, that shouldn't take too long, though it might take you a little bit. If you have extra time, go into the assembly and start snapping Tetris pieces together. I can put in more Tetris pieces. I can insert another L piece if I want. Here we are, part 1. There's the L piece. Maybe I fit it right in here, okay? So I might snap the top of this L piece right there with the top of this one right here. Now what you'll see, sometimes when you snap them together, it won't orientate them correctly. So you have what's called a flip primary axis button. I can click that, it'll flip it. You also have a reorient secondary axis button where you can kind of rotate it around. So these 2 points are going to stay touching, but you can reorient within that. So you can say I can start to build this Tetris wall here of all my pieces. All right, have some fun with it. When you're done, you're going to submit it. And the way you do that is by clicking Share. Go to Link Sharing, select Link Sharing, click Turn on Link Sharing, and then this link, you're going to copy it, and you're going to submit a link for your assignment. All right? So you're going to do all the Tetris shapes, and if you have extra time doing assembly, submit the link. All right, have a little bit of fun.